I remember the exact moment things began to fall apart, not in a loud, dramatic way, but with a silence so heavy it pressed against my chest. It was a Friday evening. I had just gotten home from work, kicked off my heels, and slumped into the couch with a carton of takeout, ready to shut my brain off. My phone buzzed once. A notification. Then another. And another. 3 unread messages from Haley. Haley Larson. My best friend since college. The woman who'd once held my hair back after a brutal breakup, who helped me move 4 times, who I laughed with, cried with, confided in, who owed me $4,000. My chest tightened. I tapped the screen. Liv, can we talk? Don't be mad. But I won't be able to pay you back this month either. There it was. Message number 78 in a series of delays, excuses, and guilt-drenched apologies. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I stared at the screen, numb. I hadn't even asked her for the money that month. I'd stopped doing that 3 months ago. The last time I reminded her, she cried. I had ended up comforting her. Comforting her for not paying me back. And now, out of the blue, another message. Another delay. The first time she asked, it felt like a simple favor. Liv, it's temporary. I promise. Just until the end of the month, she had said, fidgeting with the frayed edge of her sweater. Her eyes had that watery sincerity I knew all too well. I just need to catch up on rent. I'm behind, and if I don't cover it, my landlord's going to evict me. That was 8 months ago. She had called me crying, her voice trembling. I was on my lunch break at the design firm where I worked, sipping an overpriced smoothie and reviewing layout revisions. Without hesitation, I left my desk, went to the nearest ATM, and Venmo'd her $1,200. The next time it was for her car. Then her medical bill. Then a temporary loan so she could put down a deposit for a new apartment she never moved into. Each time, she promised next week, next Friday, next month. And each time, I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was Haley, my best friend. She remembered my birthday when no one else did. She brought me soup when I had the flu. She was family, right? I stood up from the couch and paced the living room, the glow from my phone lighting the hardwood floor as the sun dipped below the horizon. There was something different this time. Something off in the way she phrased it. Not "I'm sorry, but don't be mad." Not "I'll pay you soon, but I won't be able to this month either." That either clung to me. Was she even trying anymore? I opened my banking app. Balance, $893.56. Rent was due in 5 days. I hadn't told anyone, not my coworkers, not even my sister, about how tight things had gotten. I drained my savings covering Haley's emergencies, and pride wouldn't let me admit I was now living paycheck to paycheck. I sat back down and stared into space. How did it come to this? We met during our sophomore year at the University of Oregon. She had tripped over my backpack in the campus library, spilled her iced coffee on my sketch pad, and screamed, "Oh God, I killed your art." I'd been annoyed at first, but then she grabbed a tissue, blotted the mess, and said, "I'll buy you another notebook. And coffee. And friendship. Forever." I'd laughed. We'd bonded over our mutual hatred for calculus and a love for indie horror films. From that day on, we were inseparable. After graduation, we both ended up in Portland. I landed a junior graphic designer job. She bounced between retail gigs and photography side hustles. She was chaotic. I was structured. She made life exciting. I made life stable. It worked. Until it didn't. I scrolled through our old texts. "You always save me. You're my guardian angel. I swear I'll make this right. I hate owing you. You're the only one who's ever believed in me." The words that once felt sweet now felt manipulative. Like bait. My chest was a war zone, one side pleading, "She's your best friend," the other screaming, "She's using you." I didn't reply that night. I just let the messages sit there, festering like a wound that wouldn't heal. The next morning, I went into the kitchen and found the note I had written myself on the fridge 6 months ago. "You are not a doormat." It was supposed to be motivational. Affirming. But I hadn't listened. That afternoon, I saw her Instagram story. A boomerang of her clinking glasses at a rooftop bar downtown. Laughing. Wearing new heels. Holding a designer clutch. The caption, "Girls Night Vibes #blessed." I blinked. Was that Chanel? I replayed the video 3 times. She had told me she couldn't afford her internet bill. I finally texted her. "You told me you couldn't pay me back this month. But you're out drinking?" 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. Then appeared again. That's not fair, Liv. I needed one night to feel normal. I stared at the message. Heat rushing up my neck. I've given you 8 months of my normal, so you could keep yours. Why are you attacking me? I said I'll pay you. You're making me feel horrible. There it was again. Her guilt. Her shame. Thrown at me like a defense shield. Later that evening, my coworker Cassidy dropped by with wine. "You've been quiet all week," she said, kicking off her boots. "You okay?" I hesitated. Then, for the first time, I told someone everything. The loans. The excuses. The Instagram stories. The emotional blackmail. The silence. The guilt. Cassidy's jaw clenched. "She's not your friend, Liv. She's a parasite." The word felt brutal. Cruel. But maybe accurate. And that night, something inside me snapped, not with rage, but with cold, hard clarity. This wasn't about $4,000 anymore. It was about respect. And I was done begging for mine. I didn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about every excuse, every emotional manipulation. The way she'd guilt me into silence, then dance with wine glasses on rooftops. I thought about my own rent, my drained savings, the nights I skipped groceries so I could cover a friend's emergency. I thought about who I used to be before all this, confident, clear-headed Olivia. Not this muted version of myself, curled up in a blanket of shame and people-pleasing. By 5 a.m., I had made a decision. No more texts. No more reminders. No more being the bigger person. It was time to teach her what she'd taught me, what it felt like to be taken for granted. But I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't cry. I'd be calm, strategic, and deliberate. She wouldn't see it coming. I started with silence. For a week, I didn't respond to Haley's texts. Not even the "Hey, are you okay?" or "I'm really stressed too, just so you know." Let her wonder. Let her feel the vacuum she'd left in my life and filled with chaos. During that week, I began rewatching everything. Not TV, my past. I scrolled through old messages. I pulled up our Venmo transactions. I combed through every receipt I still had, screenshots of conversations, payment confirmations, emotional confessions. Everything had a pattern. Haley borrowed money right after emotional chaos. A breakup, a job loss, a fight with her mother. She'd butter me up with affection, throw in a sprinkle of "you're all I have," and then boom, another request. Always wrapped in guilt, always with a tight deadline. And I had always said yes. Because I loved her. Because I thought that's what friends did. But now that I'd stepped back, it was like watching a magician's trick in slow motion. And I could finally see the sleight of hand. On Thursday, she showed up at my door. I didn't answer. I watched from the peephole as she knocked with that anxious energy I used to cave into. She was dressed in yoga pants and a hoodie, her hair in a messy bun, holding 2 iced coffees. A peace offering. I watched her knock again, check her phone, then leave the coffee at the doorstep. Her car pulled out 5 minutes later. I stared at the cups until the ice melted. Friday morning, I met with Cassidy in the break room at work. "I want to do something," I whispered. She leaned in. "Like what?" "I want her to feel it. Not the money, she'll never feel that. I want her to feel the betrayal." Cassidy looked at me carefully. "Okay, so what's the plan?" I sipped my coffee, slow and controlled. "I'm going to take away the one thing she values more than anything. Which is her image." Haley had always been obsessed with appearances. Even when her life was crumbling behind the scenes, she made sure her Instagram looked like a Vogue spread. Brunches, rooftop parties, client meetings with brands that, spoiler alert, didn't exist. She lived in a rental but posted pictures with hashtag homegoals and hashtag MySpace. She had built a digital life that was polished, curated, and completely false. I knew every crack in it. And I knew exactly how to expose them. Step 1. I created a new Instagram account. @liveunfiltered. A burner. No followers. No bio. A single post that read, "Sometimes the people you trust most take the most." I followed Haley. She didn't follow back, of course. But I wasn't trying to be noticed yet. I was just planting seeds. Step 2. I went through our messages and pulled every screenshot where she borrowed money. I redacted my name, cropped the images, turned them into aesthetic story slides, white text on black backgrounds. I layered over soft music, moody lo-fi beats. A narrative began to take shape. She said she just needed $200 for rent, then $400 for her car, then $3,000 for a place she never moved into. Every time I brought it up, she cried. She told me I was cruel for asking, for needing what was mine. Each slide was vague. No names, no faces, just the truth. It started getting traction, 10 followers, then 30, then over 100. People began replying to the stories with things like, "Same happened to me," or "I feel this in my bones." Cassidy shared it anonymously in a Facebook group for women in Portland. The follower count tripled overnight. Step 3. I waited. On Sunday, Haley texted me again. "Liv, are you ignoring me on purpose? Look, I know I messed up, but ghosting me isn't fair either. Are you okay? I'm worried about you." I didn't reply. Instead, I posted this on the burner account. They always say I messed up, but never I'm fixing it. The replies exploded. I watched as strangers flooded my DMs with their own horror stories, best friends who turned into leeches, exes who drained their bank accounts, sisters who used love as leverage. I wasn't alone. But Haley? She was about to be. By Wednesday, @liveunfiltered had 1,400 followers. That's when Haley's tone changed. "Okay, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like you're being really dramatic. You're making me feel like a monster, Liv. Is that what you want? I don't deserve this." I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a clip from one of her old stories, her bragging about paying off a debt, laughing with a wine glass in hand. I didn't tag her. I didn't even say her name. But people noticed. The comments began rolling in. "Wait, is this about @Haley L Media? She posted that she paid off her debt, but she didn't." Fake influencer energy. People started piecing things together. And I didn't even have to say a word. Cassidy came over that night with popcorn. "I can't believe this is happening," she said, scrolling through the account. "You created a digital expose." She created it. I corrected. I'm just letting it breathe. Then came the phone call. Haley called me at 10:47 p.m. I stared at the screen, the photo of her laughing at a wedding flashing beside her name. I didn't answer. Instead, I played her voicemail. Her voice cracked. "Liv, I don't know what's happening, but people are messaging me. Like strangers. They're calling me a scammer, saying I stole from someone." She sniffled. "I think it's about me. But if it is, please stop. Please just talk to me." Silence. "I miss you. Please." Click. I watched the red voicemail disappear. And for a moment, I felt it. That familiar tug. That ache. That old Olivia, who would have picked up the phone and said, "I'm sorry you're hurting." But not this time. This Olivia had been hurt for 8 months. This Olivia had paid the price, literally and emotionally. And now, Haley was finally feeling it too. The next morning, I woke up to 6 missed calls from Haley. And a long, rambling text. "Liv, what are you doing? Why are you trying to ruin me? I never meant to hurt you. You know how hard things have been for me lately. You know I didn't steal. I just needed help. And now people are doxing me online? This has to stop. Please. I'm begging you." But the thing that made me freeze wasn't the desperation. It was the word, doxing. Someone had revealed her real identity online. The burner account was anonymous, vague, curated. I never exposed her, but someone else had. I logged into @Live Unfiltered. The inbox was a war zone. Anonymous messages poured in, like a flood. I know who you're talking about. This is the same Haley who took $900 from me last year. She dated my brother and emptied his savings. Finally, someone's speaking up. She's a predator. This girl owes money to half the city. One message stood out. It was from a girl named Jaina. Hi. I don't know if you're the one behind this page, but if it's about Haley, I just want to say thank you. You've no idea how long I've wanted to tell my story, too. I worked with her last year at a boutique startup. She offered to help me with rent when I lost my roommate. I paid her back in full, but she told everyone I hadn't. She blacklisted me in our circle. I almost lost my job because of the drama. She's a manipulator. You're not crazy. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about me. Haley had done this before. I stared at my phone for 10 minutes, processing what this meant. My personal heartbreak wasn't personal at all. I had believed I was one unlucky friend. But now I saw it clearly. She had a pattern. Use sympathy. Offer help. Play the victim. Flip the story. Repeat. And no one ever said anything. Until now. I dug deeper. Quietly, like a digital detective. I searched her name across LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I cross-checked dates, comments, photos. Her life was like a spiderweb of half-truths and abandoned friendships. And then I found the forum post. A subreddit titled, Portland Freelancers Beware. One entry, dated 7 months ago, caught my eye. Avoid working with HL from Haley L Media. Took $2,200 advance from me for consulting and ghosted me. No contract, no refund, no accountability. She's charming and talented, but she's a professional manipulator. It had 19 replies, all echoing the same thing. That was the moment the pit in my stomach deepened into rage. Haley wasn't some flailing friend. She was a con artist dressed in soft cardigans and latte filters. And I had been her most loyal mark. I closed my laptop, heart pounding. My thoughts swirled. How many people had she used? How many had gone silent because they didn't have proof, or because they were too embarrassed? And now that people were talking, should I let it keep growing? Or was this turning into something bigger than me? That night, Cassidy called. Liv, you need to see this. She sent me a screen recording of Haley's new story. It opened with her crying, face red and swollen. I know a lot of people are saying things about me online, she began, her voice shaking. Things that aren't true. Things that are coming from someone I trusted. She looked straight into the camera. I've made mistakes, but I'm not the villain in this. I've helped people. I've supported my friends. And now someone is trying to ruin everything I've built out of jealousy and bitterness. Cassidy paused the video. She's turning it into a pity campaign. I nodded. Of course she is. By the next morning, the comments were split. Some followers were siding with Haley, defending her, saying cancel culture was cruel, that people shouldn't attack others anonymously. But others weren't buying it, especially not Jaina. She posted her receipts, bank transfers, DMs, emails from Haley ghosting her. It went viral in our local circle. And just like that, Haley's story crumbled. On Friday, I was sitting alone in a coffee shop when I got a new email. Subject line: Formal notice of payment agreement. From HaleyLMediaLegal@gmail.com. My eyebrows lifted. It wasn't from a lawyer. It was from her. I opened the PDF attachment. It was a hastily written payment plan, offering to return the $3,000 in monthly $100 increments. No apology. No accountability. Just a weak attempt to cover her tracks. And I wasn't interested in her money anymore. I was interested in truth. I crafted a reply. Haley, thank you for your offer. But I don't want a payment plan. I want honesty. You don't get to silence me just because it's finally inconvenient. I gave you 8 months, 8 chances. And you gave me lies. This is your mess now. Live. I hit send and felt something shift. For the first time in months, I felt light. Not angry. Not obsessed. Just free. That weekend, something unexpected happened. I got a message from a local podcast host, Unfiltered Portland, a show about real people exposing real deception. They had seen at Live Unfiltered, and they wanted to interview me. I hesitated for about 3 seconds. Then I said yes. The episode aired on a Thursday. I spoke anonymously, just my voice, altered for privacy. I told the story from beginning to end, how Haley borrowed money, how she evaded responsibility, and how she had a pattern of manipulating people for personal gain. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about warning others. Haley went quiet for 2 weeks. No stories, no tweets, no photos. Then suddenly her Instagram disappeared. Deleted. Erased.
Gone.
Cassidy called me the next morning. She vanished. I sat by my window, sipping my tea. She always runs when things get hard, I said quietly. Cassidy was quiet for a second. You think she'll come back? I think she'll try. People like her always do. But this time, I added, people will know who she is. The final message from Haley came a week later. A single-line email. You didn't just break our friendship. You broke me. No apology. Still playing the victim. Still refusing to see. I read it twice. Then deleted it. And just like that, I moved on. I thought that would be the end. But I was wrong. Because some people don't learn lessons. They look for new ways to rewrite the past. 2 weeks after Haley vanished from Instagram, I got an unexpected DM on Facebook. From a name I didn't recognize, Samantha Harlow. The profile looked real. A young woman, late 20s, based in Seattle, graphic designer. But the message chilled me.
Hey.
I saw what you posted on the Unfiltered podcast. I'm sorry about what happened to you, but I think you should know. Haley is trying to rebrand in Seattle under a new name. She's calling herself Hannah Lowell now.
Same job.
Same MO. She's already offering financial consulting to freelancers. I almost fell for it until I recognized her voice on a call. My heart dropped. Haley hadn't stopped. She had migrated. I stared at the screen, my stomach tight. This wasn't over. She was just adapting like a predator changing her coat. I called Cassidy. She's doing it again. New city. New name. Same scam. Cassidy was quiet for a moment. What do we do? That night, I didn't sleep. My thoughts spiraled. This wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. It was a threat to others. To women like me, trying to build something, trying to trust people, trying to survive. And suddenly, I knew what I had to do. I opened a new document on my laptop. Title: The Freelancer Trap, How One Woman Scammed an Entire Network. And I began writing the full exposé. No anonymity. No pseudonyms. I wasn't hiding anymore. I was done being polite. I detailed every transaction. Every promise. Every lie. Screenshots. Timelines. Witnesses. Voices. And for the first time, I included her real name. Haley Lynn Parker. Portland native. Owner of Haley L Media. Now operating as Hannah Lowell in Seattle. I pitched the story to 3 local digital magazines. 2 rejected it. But the third, Pacific Pulse, replied with one word. Interested. The editor, Maria, called me personally. We've heard whispers about this woman before, but no one ever had the receipts. I sent her everything. Jana's proof. Cassidy's screenshots. Even the payment offer Haley had tried to use as a legal shield. Maria was silent for a beat. This is going to explode. By the time the article went live the following week, I felt numb. I'd spent so long obsessing over what Haley did to me that I forgot how many others she'd left in her wake. And now her mask was off. For everyone to see. The backlash came fast. The article got over 90,000 views in 24 hours. Comments flooded in. Stories surfaced. Clients in Seattle came forward with eerily similar experiences. The podcast re-aired the episode with updates. And then, Haley's Hannah Lowell website disappeared. Again. But not before people screenshotted everything. Her lies were now public record. That weekend, Cassidy and I went out for dinner to celebrate. It felt like a real victory. But halfway through our appetizers, Cassidy leaned over and whispered, "She's here." I blinked. What? Cassidy nodded toward the bar. Sure enough, there she was. Haley.
Real.
In the flesh. Sitting with a man in a suit, sipping red wine like she didn't have the internet on fire behind her. I stared at her. My pulse thundered. "I should go talk to her," I muttered. Cassidy touched my arm. "Liv, you don't have to. You've said what needed to be said." But I shook my head. I need to look her in the eye. I walked across the restaurant with slow, deliberate steps. She spotted me halfway there. Her smile froze. For the first time in a long time, she looked scared. "Olivia," she said, standing up quickly, placing her wine down. "This is a private dinner. I won't take long." I looked at the man beside her. "Excuse us." He stepped away without hesitation. Good instinct. I turned to Haley. "Still pretending to be someone else?" She opened her mouth. "I don't know what you think you're doing." "Saving people from you." Her face twisted. "You're obsessed. You always have been. This vendetta was never a vendetta." I cut in. "It was justice." She laughed coldly. "You think you ruined me? You think this ends me?" I smiled.
No.
"But I ended the version of you that hid behind fake promises and fake smiles. The one that took and left others broken." She went quiet. The room felt like it tilted sideways. "You could have just let it go," she whispered. "I did. For 8 months," I replied. "And then I didn't." I turned to leave. She didn't stop me. She just sat back down, shoulders rigid, eyes glassy. Not a villain anymore. Just a girl whose lies finally caught up with her. I didn't look back. Later that night, Cassidy and I drove home in silence. But as we pulled up to my apartment, she said something I'll never forget. "You didn't just teach her a lesson. You taught yourself one." I looked at her. She smiled. "You learned that your voice matters." For the first time since it all began, I believed her. It had been 3 months since the article came out. 3 months since I confronted Haley at that restaurant. 3 months since I finally breathed again. Life after exposing someone like her isn't as clean as the movies make it seem. You expect a neatly tied bow, applause, maybe a little closure. But real life is messy, eh? The kind of messy that lingers in corners of your mind even when the lights are off and you've double-locked the doors. I got more messages in those months than I had in years. Women.
Men.
Clients.
Former classmates.
Total strangers.
Some thanked me.
Some shared their own stories. A few accused me of exaggeration or vendettas. But deep down, I knew the truth. And more importantly, so did Haley. Her reputation was ruined in the cities she once charmed. Seattle blacklisted her. Word spread in freelance circles. Even people outside the Pacific Northwest started sharing warnings about her. Somehow, her name had become a cautionary tale. "Don't get Haley'd," one commenter wrote under a viral Reddit thread. Despite it all, there was still a part of me that wondered, was it enough? Because no matter how many people knew the truth, I still remembered how I felt the day she ghosted me. That betrayal, it was mine. And it had changed me forever. One foggy November morning, I received an email. No subject line. The sender? A Gmail address I didn't recognize. The message was short.
"You win.
I hope you're happy. You ruined everything.
H."
I stared at it for a long time. Then I hit delete. No reply. No reaction. Not anymore. Weeks passed. And with them came peace. The kind of peace that comes not from revenge, but from reclaiming your story. I started a new business project with Jaina. Cassidy and I turned our freelance struggles into a mini mentorship program for new digital creators. And slowly, the parts of myself I thought Haley had shattered started to rebuild. Until one morning, I woke up to a text from Jaina. "Have you seen the news?" I opened the link she sent. It was a local Portland news article. Alleged freelance scammer arrested after defrauding startup clients in Arizona. And there was her face.
Haley.
Older, gaunter, but unmistakable. Mugshot. Real name. Real charges. I sat back, stunned. She had moved again. Started over in a new state. Same scam. Different mask. But this time, she messed with the wrong crowd. One of the startups she scammed had a legal team that didn't play. They pressed charges. Federal ones. I read the article twice. She was facing multiple counts of wire fraud, identity falsification, and financial misconduct. No hiding this time. No Instagram vanishing act. No new city. This time, the consequences were real. I didn't celebrate. Didn't toast or dance or laugh. I just sat in silence. And then I whispered, I warned you. The final twist? A week later, I got a handwritten letter in the mail. No return address. It was short, messy, written in familiar slanted cursive. Olivia, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that somewhere along the way, I lost sight of who I used to be. I was scared of being nothing. So I became someone else. Over and over. But you saw through it. You always did.
I'm sorry.
HLP. I folded the letter. No anger. No satisfaction. Just a strange, haunting sense of finality. That night, I went out to the bridge that overlooked the Willamette River. The same place where, years ago, I had met Haley for coffee and dreamed out loud about changing the world. I stood there quietly, listened to the water, watched the lights shimmer, let the cold bite my skin, and then I let it all go. Haley was no longer my ghost to carry. She was her own consequence now. I walked back home, slower than usual, and for the first time since it all began, I felt weightless. Not because justice had been served, not because I'd won, but because I survived. And that was enough. Sometimes the lesson you teach isn't just for the one who hurt you. It's for you. To remind you, you're stronger than they imagined, smarter than they expected, and braver than they'll ever be. The final twist wasn't her downfall. It was my rise.